Hi, Eric Gibaud, Gibaud.com, and today I'm going to speak to you about something really important. An affordable telelens, a 500mm 6.3 for full frame, fully metal by TTArtisan, fully manual also. I'm going to give you my opinion, obviously, for that price, because that's a great price. You have some sacrifices to do. Is it worth it or not? We're going to speak about it. So let's start. I was going to buy some weights to do fitness, okay, but I didn't need it. It weighs from 1564 grams up to 1619 and 17 grams, depending on the amount you have. Okay, we'll see that after. Okay, I'm going to show you some pictures I made with it. I didn't make a picture of a chart this time. Why? Because I didn't have enough space. I had to do it outdoor, but it was too windy. It was impossible to have everything completely steady to guarantee the result. But anyway, it's not in that kind of lens, it's not necessary, because you will see there are some optical sacrifice. This lens is not optically perfect, but for me this is no problem because I could solve it anyway. So I will show you how. Okay, so this is the reason why in this video there are no charts. Okay, it is fully metal. The cap is metal. Here you have the sun hood that is also metal. Actually, you can put the cap without sun hood also, no problem. Here you have the aperture ring. There's no click. It goes from 6.3 up to f32. Here they have the focusing ring because it's a manual lens, and you can see on both it's geared. So actually you could use it for video. I don't think I would use it for video, but still it's geared if you want to use it for video or to focus with the remote focusing and have a control on screen or whatever, you could. Okay, so it is geared, fully metal. Here you have a leg for the tripod mount. Then here you have the mount. I used it on Sony Alpha 7 Mark II, and also Ingrid used it on Alpha 6000. On the Alpha 6000, that is APS-C, this is the equivalent of 750mm. It actually exists for several mounts: Sony E, Nikon Z, Canon RF. It is not autofocus, you have Canon RF. L mount for Lumix, Sigma, and Leica. Fujifilm X, in this case, that would be like a 750mm equivalent in the angle that is covered. And Fujifilm GFX, that would be like 395mm, but in that case, it will vignette. Okay, it's fully manual. Aperture, I don't think I said, I don't know if I said it, 6.3 up to f32. Fully manual. The iris has 12 blades, so the bokeh is really smooth. The filter size is 82mm. It is a fairly simple build, as it has only 8 elements in 5 groups. That probably has an important impact on the price. Okay, and it covers an angle on full frame of 5 degrees. It has, as I said, the sunshade and also the foot for the tripod, and the minimum focusing distance is 3.3 meters, so you could actually use it for proxy photography also. Honestly, I'm going to show you how I used it. I'll explain how I used it, what you can get out of it, show you some sample, and give you my opinion. So let's carry on. Miracles do not exist. If you think that a lens that costs 320 euros or dollars, something like this, is going to give you the same result as the lens that costs 2,000, 3,000, 6,000, 8,000, 12,000 euros, forget about it. You will not get the same results. Two things: the way to use it and the optical result. Okay, so first we're going to speak about the way to use it. All the pictures I made about the windsurf and also the plane, it was handheld. I wanted to see how it cope with me and the IBIS, all this. After 10 minutes, I was dead. I was completely dead, because it's really hard to be holding such weight and focusing at the same time and following your subject. It's so hard. Okay, so you absolutely need a way of holding the lens. A monopod, a tripod, or even better, a tripod with the pendulum head. Okay, I'll leave you a link here of one I presented. So when you use that, it's a lot easier. I tested after with it. It's so much easier. It's really a pleasure to use. You have the pendulum head and you just move the wire around, you follow your subject, all this, it's really easy. When Ingrid made picture of the moon, a full moon, we used the pendulum head. Obviously we locked it, but it was so easy to move it, follow, to place it properly. It was so more comfortable. So to the price of this, you have to add a serious tripod. Is it worth it? We'll see at the end in the conclusion, okay? But if you want to use this lens hand holding it, it's going to be really, really, really tiring and really hard to do it. To focus and follow at the same time and have all this weight, it's really complicated. But anyway, even if you had a lot more expensive lens and a lot lighter lens, don't forget that 500mm is really, really, really sensitive to any movement. So it means that unless you're shooting at a high speed, you will see that your eyepiece doesn't compensate enough for this focal length. Okay, so you probably will need a tripod anyway, even if you were paying for a lens that costs 10 times more. Don't forget this, okay? So for the use of it, you need a serious tripod. Yes or yes, okay? Pendulum head is even better. As it is manual focus, you will need some help. Focus peaking, magnifying glass. The big problem is focus peaking depends on the cameras and the brand. They are not always precise. And magnifying, it works really fine, but this is already 500mm. So you see things like this, and then if it's close. But then if you magnify, then any slightest movement will be even harder to control, okay? So magnifying glass, if you're on a pendulum head and you're following your subject, is impossible, and if you're handheld, it's also impossible, okay? So if you're steady, some steady shot, nothing's moving, yeah, that's fine. So you will have to rely on focus peaking. Well, if your subject is not that close, maybe you have 10 meters, 20 meters of depth of field. Like when I was doing the windsurf, I was about 100 meters from the windsurf. I was on the street, then the beach, then the guys on the water, on the sea, okay? So I could get them some pictures are reframed a bit, okay? But still, at about 10, 20 meters of depth of field, so it was feasible. But you're going to have a hard time focusing properly. It's possible to do it because I did it, okay? But still, you really have to learn how to better your technique or really have a great technique focusing, okay? And be aware that you wanted to do a subject that are really close, like from 3.3 meters on. Well, the depth of field is so shallow that it's going to be a nightmare to focus. But normally, when you use 500mm, your subject is not very close. You will use it for what I did. Otherwise, you would use a different lens, not such long focal length, okay? That's the point. But you're going to better your technique, have to better your technique a lot. Something that doesn't have to do with this lens, but any super tele lens. It's the stability of the air. The atmosphere needs to be really clean and really stable. Like the picture I made of the plane, they're about 300 meters away, and yeah, they moved, they blurred. Why? Because the air was moving, it was really hot. So you need to have no pollution, no really hot air, because you will actually see your picture that will be blurred. So many people buy 500mm, 600, 1000, and they say, yeah, but the lens is not good, the pictures are blurred. No, the lens is good or not, it's irrelevant. The air is not stable. So if you, the typical mistake, people want to go to a safari, to Africa, photography safari, and they say, all my pictures are blurred. Yeah, what did you use? 500mm, and the elephant was like 600 meters away or 300 meters away, and it's all blurred. Yeah, sorry to tell you, but then you should use a shorter lens and get closer to the animal. But this is you to decide. If you want to get closer and maybe never come back, and the great picture you make will be for your child and grandchildren, and you will not go home because you've been eaten by the lion, for example, or you say, well, I accept to have blurred picture. It's you to decide, okay? But when you see this phenomenon, it's not a lens problem. It is an atmosphere problem. It is an hot air problem or pollution problem, okay? But be aware. Think about how you're going to use this lens, any lens, long focal length, and see if it will be okay for you, okay? Otherwise, that can be really disappointing, okay? Let's speak about my picture. Honestly, the results were disappointing. Why? First, if we look at the plain pictures, the atmosphere was really hot, so it's moved, it's blurred, okay? Is it the fault of this lens? No, I explained before. If we look at the windsurf pictures, at first, the beach, that is hot. So part of the lack of sharpness is due to that. Then I was handheld, so part of the lack of sharpness can be that. So I could say, and part could be the lens itself. So I could say, well, the lens is no good for that. But, if it's due to atmosphere lack of stability, any lens would be the same problem. If it's because of me moving, yeah, any lens that is not stabilized, I would get on top of the IBIS. Even with the stabilization would be hard, okay, but would be difficult. If it is a lens optical problem, yeah, then that's the fault of the lens. But I decided to use my best friend, Topaz Sharpen AI. And the results are, if it's due to hot hair, like the plain pictures, there's no much solution, but there would be no solution with any situation, any lens, okay? But when I look at the windsurf pictures, then, wow, I get stunned, because it goes from not too good picture, blurred, from perfect, okay? I see the drop of water, all this. So honestly, but the same as I said, use a good tripod and add, and now I say add software like Topaz Sharpen AI, then you get great results. So I was really happy, disappointed, and then really happy to see the result for the price of this lens, okay? So I think it's worth getting to the conclusion about if it's worth buying this or not. My conclusion, well, as I said, to this lens that is really affordable, you absolutely need to add a tripod, a monopod, or anything to to bear its weight and use it properly, and also a piece of software like Topaz AI or Topaz Sharpen AI. So it means, yeah, a good tripod minimum is about 200 euros. So if you add to the lens, we speak about 500 plus a software, about 600 euros. So then you feel, yeah, but 600 euros, maybe there are other options. Yes, there are. We can speak about a lens like a Sigma 600, I think it's around that price. Or, yeah, they have 150 to 500, not sure, okay? Check, okay? There's a Tamron also. But still, with these two lenses, you will still need to have a tripod or any kind of support, okay? Or good support. So you're still spending an extra 200. And probably you will also need some sharpening software due to, maybe you move a bit or atmospheric situation, all this. So at the end, you're not spending 600, you're spending 900, okay? So yes, this is still the most affordable option. The good point about the Sigma and Tamron is the autofocus. Maybe it will be easier than manual focusing, that's true, but maybe you don't have that kind of money. Maybe you're on a really low budget. But still, if you have only 300 and you want to use it handheld, it's going to be really hard. Okay, so don't forget, if you want to buy this, calculate budget for a good tripod and some kind of sharpening software. You need it, okay? Yes, doing telephotography is the most expensive sport that exists. But still, this is the most affordable solution. If you use the Alpha 7 Mark II I used, or the one of Ingrid is Alpha 6000, plus this could be other brand, okay? But there are several mounts. It is the cheapest you can get aside of a bridge camera if you want to have a long tele lens on a camera and do wildlife photography. This is the most affordable you will find, okay? So yes, many people contact me and say, I've got a 300 or 400 euros budget. I want to do wildlife photography. Budget for what? For the camera, for camera body, the lens? No, for everything. Forget about it. Okay, so sorry about this, but wildlife is the most expensive situation, okay? And this is the most affordable solution. So decide on what budget you have. If you can get something better with its own stabilization on the lens or autofocus, well, fine. But if you're on really tight budget or you will use it really from time to time, this is a good option. And don't forget, even if the pictures are disappointing, once you use some sharpening software, you get great results. So to me, if you're aware of the limitation I've just explained, yes, it is a recommendable lens. If you're not prepared to resharpen your pictures or use a tripod or this, then this lens is not recommendable, and I would say none are recommendable in this focal length, okay? So if you're interested in this lens, I'll leave you a link in the description where you can buy it. So thank you so much, TTArtisan, for sending me this lens. Thank you to you for watching the video. If you feel it may interest other people, please share it on social networks. If you have not done it yet, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. The small button on here and a small bell. If you click on the bell, get notified when I upload a new video. My website, Gibaud.com. If you have any question, can leave a comment below. Also leave you links of my gear on Amazon, links of everything I reviewed by K&F Concept, Sandmarc and Flashes by Westcott, more affiliated links, and also a link to my PayPal account in case you wanted to make a donation. Thank you very much. Please take care of yourself and see you soon. Bye.